So that was the dance of Miragimpa. The story to that is when we see we got these things called hairy caterpillars, the itchy grubs. Yeah. When they join up to become a train, there's a certain fish in the bay, in Moreton Bay. So we got to now go to Amity and look for Miragimpa. And he's circling, and the fish that we're looking for is the mullet. Now the mullet are coming up from the southern currents, the deep sea mullet. And then they come in, and they come in waves. And the first wave goes through, and he's still circling. Yeah. The second wave comes through, he's still circling. And we're waiting with our nets and our spears. And then on the third wave, he comes down and he gets his fish. He actually tells us which inlet to go to. So does anyone know why he doesn't take it on the first or the second?
So it'll scare the rest.
Because they are the leader and teaching fish.
Yeah.
And if he was to take the fish from the first or the second wave, then no one would get benefit, because he wants the mullet to stay in the bay. So he takes it from those that are still learning. Okay, so that's how we respect that particular bird, because he tells us when to go and where to go. And when I was 9, my grandfather said, I'm going to take you fishing. But Granddad he used to only tell me like half the story. And he used to have this long crocheted needle that was made from a dugong bone. And he'd get the inner bark of the cottonwood tree and he'd roll it on his thighs to make string. That's why he never had any hairs on his legs. And he'd make these nets, and they're shaped like an eye. They're about that big, and they're two long sticks joined together, and he weaves the nets in there. So when we hold it like that. So when the mullet come back at us, we scoop them together, and we also do that to the tailor and throw it onto the bank. They're called toro nets. Anyway, he was there making these nets, and he made me a little bamboo spear, and I was drawing fish on the beach and practicing my spearing skills. And Granddad, when are we going to go fishing? Because all I could see him doing was making these nets. Then every now and then he'd get his spear. He'd got a big 8-foot spear, fishing spear, and he'd whip it. Whoop, 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 whoop. He'd whip it on top of the water. And, I don't know what he was doing. I didn't take much note. I just thought he was just having a break from doing the nets. And then he'd sit down. This went on for some time. And then he said to me, he said, boy, never ever called me by my name. Boy, what do you see? Stand up, have a look. And I looked and I said, I can see a fish jumping. He said, what sort of fish are they? I said, they're tailor. How do you know they're tailor? Because you said that when the first wattle blooms, that's when the tailor are in the bay. So he's just testing me, And he said, yeah, but what's behind it? And what was behind it was these two large Indo-Pacific dolphins, the ones with the small dorsal fin. And they were keeping the tailor in a ball. So what he was doing with it, he was whipping the water. He was sending an echo, a message underneath the sea to call the dolphins in.
That's cool.
And then they brought that fish, they kept it in a ball, and they brought it from about here to the desk away.
Yeah.
So we walked in, bang.
Bang, too easy. Wow.
And just threw it on, we only took what we needed for our families. He said, well, I did tell you I was taking you fishing, go get your fishing spear. He said, now spear one of those tailor. speared it. He said, now offer it to the dolphin. So then I offered it to the dolphin. And that was to say thank you.
Wow.
And he did the same to the other dolphin.
Yeah, respect.
And then he whipped the water, and that was the message to tell them to feed at their own leisure. So they're the sorts of things that I grew up with. They're the sorts of things that I share with the schools, because it still happens today. Those sorts of things still happen today. And where I live right on a hill that overlooks the bay. And there's a certain time when I know it's going to rain by the colour of the water. It turns a certain colour. And I don't know how it happens like that. And you know, like Lee's, my wife's looking up, she said, no, it's not going to rain. I said, yeah, it's going to rain tonight. And she said, no, it's not. Because she pulls out the bomb, you know, the Bureau of Meteorology. She said, no, there's no rain inside here, you know. I go, all right, let's just see tomorrow morning. And we get up in the morning and our back veranda's all wet from rain. I said, don't want to be a smart ass, but it rained last night, you know. So, you know, a lot of that information gets passed on to my children now. And I've got my daughter, I don't know if you know, but my eldest daughter's a doctor. She actually works for the Victorian Health Office here, and she does all the epidemiology, all the Aboriginal communities on COVID. And she does the same up in Queensland. She's also the a director on the Australian Indigenous Doctors Association. And now she's working for the Aboriginal Medical Service network to work with all remote communities in Queensland on COVID. So she's right out there. And the good part about it, she doesn't big note like Jaren. She just does what she needs to do. And that's what I like about her, you know. I mean, I'll put up with my son because he just, he's just a different person. But his culture, you can't wrong him. He's very good at his culture. And I love it when he comes in to do dance with me, because he does all the dancing and I do all the slapsticks, you know. And so I do all the stories and the movements, and he gets out there and he just doesn't see. He needs to compete with someone for him to show you his best. And there's no one around here that's as good a dancer as him. So he plays the ditch. Lazy bugger. So he does that. So I said to him, I said, why don't you get out there and dance? Ah, Dad, you know that I got no competition, Dad, because he'll tell you. He'll make sure he tells you. But he's very good at his culture. He's been doing it ever since he's been about 7 or 8. And I still remember when they did the kangaroo dance. I used to manage an Aboriginal cultural centre out at Healesville, right opposite the Healesville Sanctuary there, called Galena Beak. And his little dance group, because that was all his cousins, they came out, and my 2 sons were in the dance group, and they did the kangaroo hunting dance. And I said, all right, who wants to be the kangaroo? Because I'll play the yidaki. And Chagan says, yes, I'll be the kangaroo. You know. He's younger than Jaren. And Jaren, okay, I'll be the warrior, Dad. And I said, okay, away you go. So at the end of the dance, you know, because Jaren, he's doing the, you know, he's doing the looking the footprints and looking for that kangaroo, and that kangaroo, he just looking around, you know, and then it come to the end where he catches him and he spears him. Well, Jaren actually speared him, but it just grazed his ribs. And that look, I still remember the look that Chagan gave me. And I'm trying not to laugh. And, you know, and he gave me that look like, he really speared me, Dad. He had a big red mark on his ribs, and I still laugh about it. But they were. And when the other 2 came along, I got them to mentor the other 2, and but they had funny interpretations about mentoring, because they just wanted to bash him all the time, as siblings do. Oh, can I just hit him once, Dad? Just once. Because they get out of tune. I give one the clapsticks and the other way, and then they wouldn't be in tune, and the two elder boys up dancing, and they're looking at me, as if to say, and I've got my mouth in this. Hey, what am I going to do? So I'm trying to kick them on each side to get back in time with the dance. But we've got a few gigs happening here.